Skyfall. New right now. Skyfall. Bring it on down.
What is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over in a short amount of time, and today will be a live call-in show, 2244-00-MARF. That's, again, the number to call, and we will see you in just a moment. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Bring it on down. Skyfall. New right now. Skyfall. Bring it on down. Bring it down. Skyfall. Bring it on down.
All right, what is going on?
Skyfall. New right now.
It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. This is going to be a packed show. We have a lot of crazy things going on all over the planet, so we're going to talk about all of that and more. We're going to be taking live calls. If you're new here or someone just shared my show with you, make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com. Not only can you access other information, but you have a full bibliography of all of the information that I'm about to show you. Every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we show you here today, we make sure that you have access to the information, so then you know exactly where that came from. Now, when you go to the website, you'll see it's very easy to navigate. It is all done by thumbnail, so you'll look for today's thumbnail. Satellites are at risk, and that's very serious. Of course, Skyfall pending. Once you click on Skyfall pending, you will see that it brings you to a full bibliography of all of the articles. That way, you again can go back retrospectively and check our work and go check it out. Now, over on the website, something very special right now. On top of all of the articles and the overflow and all of the web-only content, there is also the contest that started yesterday. You can win a off-grid Faraday backpack, and that's, again, a $380 backpack, and for a very good reason. That is a Faraday bag with multiple pockets inside that actually are made to protect and actually basically stop any kind of electromagnetic pulse, any kind of CME from disrupting your electronics. But even better yet, once you put your electronics in there, they are not traceable, they're not trackable. So get over there. That's, again, there's no purchase to enter. And again, the reason why it took so long to get that together is because we needed to have the official rules and everything, proper. So make sure to go over there and check it out. You can win a free off-grid bag. Get over there. All right, and then let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. And what is going on today? How are you doing, Dex?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, I think you changed it up, didn't you? Don't you usually say, I'm doing good or something? Did you change it a little bit? I think you
No, I just changed the inflection. That's all.
Oh, well, the inflection did it all. Okay. Because we talked about it yesterday, how a couple people said
I'm doing just fine, Adam.
He should go off in the beginning and just say, like, I'm blessed, it's a fantastic day or something. I don't know. And the world's richest man, I saw Elon and thought, man, world's richest have lost $1.4 trillion in 2022 after rapid gains. So we talked about how it was insane. And I want to point out, though, too, this is the most gains were through pharma. Hope everybody knows that. Most of these giant gains were through a very specific kind of business, just to let you know. But a lot of that has been lost in other ways. So what's funny is a ton of people made money. They kept their money. And they didn't lose it now. This is what they say. They say that these people lost their money after gaining huge. No. Huge gains in certain businesses and certain types. Like think about the Walmarts, the big box stores that, of course, Walmart says that it didn't make money during this whole time. But think about all the places that were the only ones allowed open while everybody else was shut down. Think about that. I'm thinking you have to be making tons of money because everyone has to go through you. On top of that, as far as more billionaires were made in a month than has happened, I believe, in the last ever. I think it set a record of how many billionaires were made, and all of them worked for very specific companies that were involved in certain things that were going on. So just to point that out, where all of this loss is, though, is in other places. All of the 1.4 trillion that went up and the 1.4 trillion that went down, that's in other stuff. I don't think that's all in the same areas that it skyrocketed up. Of course, you had this huge level. No, they actually went down 1.4 trillion. It says that the 500 wealthiest people in the world have lost a combined $1.4 trillion this year, a trillion being 1,000 billion, including 206 billion on Monday alone, according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, as global financial markets buckle under the weight of higher interest rates and inflation anxiety. Here's the thing, though. These people are at the very top. They're in the 500 wealthiest. Guess what? It's a rigged game. They already have the information. If the market's going to go down or if something's going to happen like this, it may lose them, but they're only going to go, oh, shoot, I lost $206 billion. In fact, I'm going to double down on that same thing that lost me $206 billion. I'm going to put another $100 billion. And then all of a sudden it shoots up back to $1 trillion because most of these guys, and this is just my personal theory, have some sort of connection, people that are telling them what is going on. So it may seem like, oh, poor guys. Oh, now the guy's only down to $110 billion. But they will be back up. And when you have that much money, this isn't the biggest thing. Like it's going to go back up. And most of these people are there for a reason. If you're in that top 500 in the entire world, then you got there from being connected to absolutely everyone. So I don't feel bad for the people that lost, but there's another way that you could look at this. And if it is true and that all of this has been lost, then that's obviously not a good sign for our entire economy. Could that trickle down? Could that hurt everybody? Could it be done on a purpose somehow? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And then if you want to give me a call at 224400-MARF, again, that's 224400-6273. You can actually call me right now. And if you're a first-time caller that's afraid to call in, this is the day to do it. You can call in again. General rules, I just want to make it real quick announcement. Make sure to be polite. This is a voluntary show to watch. If you are in a negative mood and you are just full of drama today and you know it, just don't pop into chat. Stay out of it. We want positive people in here. And again, I know everybody has a bad day. Don't take that on the people next to you because honestly, you could come in and have fun and hang out with people and talk. Don't bring everybody else down. Again, that is something that we want to have a zero drama atmosphere. Make sure to keep it positive. Push each other up instead of push each other down. That's a general rule we've always had. Don't put other creators down. Don't put other people down in the chat. But especially since it's a call-in show, I just want to make an announcement. Do not talk badly about the callers and remind others nicely and very politely. Say, general rule, you may not have known this, but we do not talk badly about the callers. Think about it. If you called in, it doesn't matter when there's 5,000 people in that chat. There's going to be somebody who doesn't like what you're saying or doesn't jive with you, thinks you're this or that. Let's not do that today. Let's try to keep it positive. Push the caller up. If you disagree, well, I respectfully disagree, but awesome caller. That's what I like to see. All right, and then as far as Elon, which again, he's in that top 500. In fact, he's in the top 5. In fact, he's probably the top right now. Elon Musk to take questions from Twitter employees during all-hands meeting. Elon Musk will attend a all-hands virtual Twitter meeting on Thursday and field questions from the company's employee, according to reports. The meeting, first reported by Business Insider, marks the first time that the multi-billionaire will speak to Twitter workers since he launched his $44 billion bid to purchase the company in April. What's crazy to me is like when I guess this is maybe it's because it's all been public, but how much attention this is and how much of a thing it is to buy. I get it's a $44 billion company. It's not like you're buying a taco stand where you go, hey, I want to buy this. Hey, I want to sell it. And then you're the new owner. I'll see you on Monday. You're going to be opening up the shop. This is Twitter. This is a very powerful tool. In fact, with AI and what Elon is doing with AI, and of course the AI bots and Tesla and everything else, he wants this Twitter. And I think he wants it because he wants all of the data. As far as being able to use that to train AI, as we know from the last couple of days, Google just said that essentially one of their designers or one of their programmers just said that they created an AI that is sentient, has emotions, and even wants human rights right now. In fact, his excuse for letting this information out, and it might, who knows if it's going to be a loophole, the programmer from the Oogs basically said that he doesn't feel like it's leaking information. It was talking about a conversation he had with another employee. The way he looks at that is because he asked and he said, well, how would you like me to address you? The AI said, I would like you to address me just like any other employee at Google, which is just a trip and a half. So again, Twitter is a very important tool for that, but also it's a very powerful tool for, of course, controlling any kind of narrative, really. In fact, it's so powerful for narratives that countries like Xi's country, they actually employ over 1 million people to go into Twitter and to other social media platforms. They literally have 1 million on their payroll that just sit there and they do the bidding of the country. So if there's a narrative they want either quieted or blown up, they can do that with 1 million people. Think about any tweet that gets 1 million retweets right, instantly. That's the kind of power they have. And 1 million tweets will instantly go to the very top, which means people will see it. So if it's a bunk or, crazy hoax or something, they could boost it or they could drop it. Or if it's negative attention towards their country, they could also make it sound like complete BS. And you'll type in the hashtag and see 100,000 responses going, this is fake news, this isn't real. And then, of course, people, when they scroll through 10 pages of this is BS, even if it is real, they're going to go, oh, no, I saw that. That's BS. So it's very important as far as what Twitter is, the power it has, and the power it's had in the previous everything. So what do you think about it? Let me know. Stephen McMahon that says, God bless all in this house. Hey, thank you, Stephen McMahon, and I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you so much. And then Richard Wells 3, thank you so much for subscribing 6 minutes ago. Rebecca Arthur, I appreciate that as well. Thank you for subscribing. And then before the show even started, Hellbane88 says, Adam, check out the explosion that happened out at Quintina, Texas plant on June 8th. We are expected to be shut down until next year. Prep up, folks. Well, with not only with that, with everything else, it's pretty insane to think about all of the different things that happened over the last 6 months, especially regarding those kinds of plants. We covered that a few weeks ago, or I guess a month ago now, but man, absolutely insane amount of different very strange occurrences happening all at the same time. Now, if you want to call in on this or any other story that you see on the website tonight, you can call in at 2244-006273, and of course that number will be scrolling down below. With almost 3,000, we should have a good amount that we're going to get some good callers tonight. You'll want to press option 4 when you get to the phone tree, and you will get directly to Dex if he is free. And then, of course, be patient and try to keep calling. Scientists hope upgraded atom smasher can crack mysteries of the universe. Faster, better, stronger, right? It says the new phase of operations at the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest particle accelerator, is scheduled to start in a few weeks, just a day after the 10th anniversary of its greatest achievement so far, the discovery of the long-sought-after Higgs boson. It says that the collider's reopening, it's been closed since 2018, which is crazy to think about. 4 years it's been closed, is an important event for global science, as it is generally considered as one of the biggest science experiments ever conducted, has already helped reveal important details about the fabric of reality. The bad part, though, is if they make a mistake, there are many experts and many scientists that are absolute rocket scientists that are saying that there could be a mistake done that could actually destroy the world. It's one of the multiple kind of crazier end of the world scenarios, and that would exactly be the Hadron Collider creating some sort of black hole and it sucks us all in. Or they end up accidentally creating time travel. What's really crazy is all of the other stuff from science fiction is now coming true, as far as some of the craziest things we ever thought about. AI robots helping you in your house to do your chores and getting cheap enough for everybody to own. That's the future that Elon sees. You have going to space, possibly living in space hotels. And now you have possibly this Hadron Collider doing some very, very scary things. And remember, if you don't know anything, and there are some people that are just completely clueless about the CERN, go down that rabbit hole. That is one rabbit hole I highly encourage, because there is a lot of stuff there. And it's not just all like where you look into a subject and it's like, oh, these people are, oh, they just say this because there's this symbol on the door or something. No, they have so many things that is wrong with that whole program, from the 3 6s as part of their logo. Their logo is 666, to the goddess that is sitting outside of their thing. If I got you curious, make sure to go down that rabbit hole. You will find tons of stuff. In fact, Jacob Israel, if you type in Jacob Israel after CERN, you'll probably get some really good videos, so make sure to go check that out. It says the Higgs discovery in July 2012 affirmed the standard model of particle physics, which still holds sway as the best explanation of how matter works. But scientists hope that the latest LHC run will explain even greater mysteries of existence, including the invisible particles that make up dark matter, and just why there is anything here at all. It says now we're ready for Run 3. That's, of course, Randy Stierenberg, who heads beam operations for CERN, the international organization that runs the LHC. It says a vast hidden ring of tunnels and detector caverns built deep underground beneath fields, trees, and towns on the border of France and Switzerland, over 5 miles across and more than 16 miles around. So think about that. In fact, 16 miles around. It goes over 2 countries. And to think about what 16 miles is, you probably do not drive that far to work. This thing is underground. It's a huge loop that is 16 miles large. And they also want to make a larger version of it. It says the Large Hadron Collider has been dormant for more than 3 years, while it's been upgraded with tens of millions of dollars worth of improvements. The upgraded facility will achieve energies up to 13.6 trillion electron volts, or TeVs, compared to 13 TeV in the previous run. It says, and advanced detecting equipment to better examine the chaotic explosions inside the giant atom smasher. It's now being tested at low power, and the first experimental collisions on the third run will begin on July 5th. One day after Independence Day, they're going to start this damn thing up. What do you think about it? Let me know. Give me a call. Do you have a story about CERN or something else? Let me get me on the phone, 2244-006273. And again, this just a kind reminder, nothing in this show is meant to scare you. If you are afraid by any of this, then you are probably new, because anybody that's been here for a long time is desensitized to any of this, to the point where we're not afraid of this. We are more looking at all the little pieces of the puzzle, and we try to put them together. Make responsible decisions with what you are doing. There's a lot of freaky stuff, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. Unfortunately, we're not in a great time in history, and it looks like we're at the precipice of something even worse. If you don't agree, then I would highly recommend at least sit around for a while and try to hear me out on this, because we have a ton of things that have happened in the last 3 years that make a lot of us here agree on at least this. We are headed towards something massive. So again, if you think so too, then you're in the right place. We're not all going to agree, but one thing we can agree on is Kim Jong sounds like a nut, right? Well, it sounds like he says it is set to detonate nuclear bomb at any moment in a chilling warning to the West, despite U.S. vowing to respond. Now, we're saying we said that we would do a forceful response, but nobody really knows what the heck that means. It says that Kim Jong has issued a chilling warning to the West as he prepares to fire a nuke at any moment. It comes despite the U.S. vowing to, quote, respond quickly with allies should the NK dictator press ahead with the nuclear bomb test. Now, remember, he's already tested these things back in 2017. He, in fact, tested it from 2017 back on. There were a bunch of different tests, and a lot of them people thought were failures. If you haven't followed my show for long, then you wouldn't know that we covered a lot of this with the EMP task force, the Pentagon's EMP task force, who, again, we're lucky enough to get a bunch of the press releases first through EMP Shield, or affiliate, and we were kind of right on top of that. In that, Peter Fry, who is the essentially the head of that department and the task force, basically said that a lot of those tests were not failures. Everybody was saying, oh, well, these are really low yield. If they are doing a nuke, then they're failing horribly because these are tiny. Well, apparently they weren't trying to get a big boom out of the thing. They were trying to make a low-yield explosion that would create a super EMP. Now we know this, and we even know that Vlad, or somebody in Vlad's country, they actually said, their officials in Vlad country said, well, they either got it or we gave it to them. I don't even think that's paraphrasing. They said, basically, they attained it from us or we gave it to them. Don't know which. But they got the designs and the blueprints for a super EMP weapon, which requires a super low yield nuke. So it doesn't take a huge boom to create a EMP that could knock out the entire West Coast. The entire country, really. And then, of course, we have SK, the Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin, said NK has now completed preparations for a new nuke drill, and that is only a decision from the ruler that could halt it. It says, but the top diplomat warned that the North would pay a severe price if it goes ahead following talks with Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Washington amid fears that Kim could unleash his 7th nuke test within days. It says, last week, U.S. and SK officials had said only that the North was nearing completion of such preparations and urged Kim to, quote, make the right decision. If NK ventures into another nuclear test, I think it will only strengthen our deterrence and our international sanctions. NK should change its mind and make the right decision. Apart from the stinging the North with sanctions, Park did not reveal what the state would suffer or outline how the deterrence policy would change. I want to also point out that we covered that the South actually fired 8 test missiles or short-range ballistic missiles the day after NK actually tested 8 short-range ballistic missiles. And when that happened, that was basically their response. Those ballistic missiles weren't actual nuke tests, those were just missile tests. They're talking about their 7th ever nuke test, which generally we'll probably see if this goes off without a bell and if it's not aimed at anybody, we will see something like, they have a 6.2 earthquake that they've just detected right near NK or somewhere around there. Or they'll see something go off in the water or something. So we'll see, hopefully, that this isn't, cover for something even worse, like somebody firing off one and actually aiming it towards somebody. So if you want to call in 224-400-MARF, we'll get into the phones here in just a second. In fact, just want to, let's see here, refresh here. All right, let's see. We have several people that have already popped in. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Let's see. Stephen McMahon, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. There was a planet between Mars and Jupiter that exploded. That is the origin of the asteroid belt. And then Stephen McMahon, interesting. Dust, Marf, last episode you spoke about the dangers of AI, and I would recommend looking at the video game Detroit Becomes Human. Is that what that says? It's a video game called Detroit Become Human. I will have to see it. What a weird video game name. To see all the predictive programming and symbolism. God bless. Thank you, Dust A Dust, and thanks for the support. Stephen McMahon, God bless all in this house. Fate favors the prepared Dean. Favors the prepared Dean. Thank you so much for your back-to-back super stickers. And then Ariel's Pervy Perspectives. Thank you so much for being the last one out, along with Catherine Wilson on the last show. All right, and then Dex, it looks like you're going to be getting. Let's see here. We have Allie, first-time caller, and has a sighting out of Florida. Well, you get Allie on the phone. I will make sure to silence that so you can get her on. I wanted to remind everybody, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out Energy. Now, Energy is a solar generator. In fact, all of my studio is backed up by an Energy Flex 1500. My 2 power bars, all my music gear, my lights, and my router. In case of a power outage, then we can keep the show going. But more than that, this is now becoming actually a real, actual backup for my home and my family's homes now. So what this is it's a solar generator. It is silent, which means you don't have to worry about people from down the street hearing that you have one, which in an SHTF situation, you would want that very last. Also, this is something that does not require gas, which means, 1, there's no fumes, so you can bring it right inside. 2, you're not going to have to pay $6 to $10 to $12 to $50 down the road for gas per gallon. What you will need is a solar panel. Again, you can also charge this from the wall, from your car, but the greatest part is once you get a solar panel, you set that up, and it's going to be charging itself just from the sun. Now, they have awesome kits, and it's up to $170 off right now, which is their first ever sale that's specific just for us. Now, they actually have a small waiting list to actually get one of these. They are extremely high in demand because of the parts that are inside of them. Don't be fooled by a lot of the things. I've seen a lot of the ads for different solar generators out there that only have 2 plugins, and specifically some of them, they'll come with some crazy amount of like food with them, or a 1-month supply of this, or a 3-month supply of that. Those are, in my opinion, garbage. Look at the actual fine print of what you're getting, and then think about how would they be able to do that. 1, most of those, the battery is built in. So if they come with a crappy made somewhere battery that isn't good, it's going to end up affecting the overall use of it. This is made with the highest quality products. Now, again, some of the stuff is made in other countries, which makes these extremely hard to get right now. So make sure to get over there as soon as you can, because you can right now get upwards of $170 off on certain packages. You can extend it up to 96 batteries, and you can switch the batteries out as easy as just flipping two little switches that basically unlocks it. It's like opening a briefcase to change the batteries. And then, of course, with their panels, which you can use any panels, which is also cool, you can actually unfold. They have a foldable, portable panels that even comes in a carrying case. So you can take everything with you. There's no crazy wiring or anything. You just plug and play and get it started. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to know anything. So again, this is one of the coolest systems because say if you need 100 hours of power or 500 hours of power or 1,000 hours of power, you can choose how much power you really need and what you want to get. So marfugglenews.com/INERGY. That's again, marfugglenews.com/energy. All right, let's get Allie on the phone, and it looks like Allie has a sighting over the Belt Parkway in New York City and paranormal experiences. Calling from Florida, though. So, Allie, are you there? And am I saying?
Hey, Marf. How are you?
Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Is it
I'm
Ollie?
here, Marf.
Is it Allie
Yes.
or Ollie?
The name is Allie.
All right, Allie, what's going on?
Well, first of all, I want to say that you and Dex are great, very informative. I listen to the show every night. And just want to do a shout-out to the family out there as well. My UFO sighting story began in 1974. Happened in 1974 over the Belt Parkway, as you said. I was about 10 years old at the time, traveling with my family, actually going home, getting off the exit, when all of a sudden this saucer shows up out of nowhere. Well, basically, the scene was like this. You know that movie Independence Day, where they start seeing the spaceships and everybody pulls over, comes to a screeching halt? Same case scenario. Everybody got out of their cars, they stopped. We must have stared at this stuff for like 10, 15 minutes. It didn't make any noises, nothing, but you could see the lights. The lights were different colors. They were like dome-shaped lights. And red, blue, white, and it just kept pulsating. But there was no noise, none whatsoever. It was pretty clear and kind of scary because we didn't know what it was. Well, it's a flying saucer, but we didn't know basically from where or whom, or it was an experiment, who knows. So basically, it must have been no more than maybe 10, 15 feet off the light pole. That's how close that thing was.
Now, and that was over the Belt Parkway. Now, did any of you? How long ago was this? Did you already say?
1974. 1974. This was a while ago. Yeah, I was like 10 years old at the time.
So there's no cell phone videos of it. I love when callers have older stories from, a long time ago. And I even heard, there was a comment on this video that was a guy telling a story from 1960. And every comment was like, well, where's the video of it? Couldn't you pull out your cell phone? And I'm thinking, it's right in the title. It says 1960. I'm like, that's how people think, though. That's how people think now, especially this next generation, these kids. They don't see life without cell phones. I'm one of the last generations that didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. But right after me, it's like beyond the millennials, the Gen Z or whatever it is now, they had cell phones from birth, from 2 years old, everybody does now. And it's just crazy to think that these kids don't know how to pump gas. They don't know what life without a cell phone was. They didn't go through pagers and all the other stuff that we had to evolve into. So anyways, well, crazy.
That's true. I took my son to a park one day, and they had, the old-fashioned phones. And I said, here's a dime. Go make a phone call. He goes, I don't have a phone. I said, there's a phone. He goes, that's a phone? I said, yeah, go. He goes, how do you call out from it? It was the funniest thing. It's, the phone didn't even work, but it was still there, in the park. But anyways, another story that I have to tell you. For those people that are non-believers, okay, for the paranormal, I'm a true believer because I went through a lot of stuff in a house that we moved into Miami, into Coral Gables. At the time, we were sitting, all four of us were having dinner in a room that's called in Florida a screened room. It's basically you have like a border, like a 4-foot concrete border, and then the screen goes all the way up to the top, to the roof. So that's called the screen room, the Florida room. So we're having dinner there. We have a German Shepherd at the time, and the Shepherd starts growling, and we looked at ourselves like, what the heck? The screen room had a door, and it had 2 windows next to that door. The rest was all screened out. Well, the actual door had those little, I think they're called jealousy windows, I think. And basically, they start, the door is shaking so hard that they start falling off. There's a spotlight, mind you, right over the door, because this is out in the yard. There was nobody there, but that door was like coming off the hinges. It didn't stop until my father started praying the Our Father who art in heaven. Okay, and I think he grabbed the crucifix and he stood in front of the door. All of a sudden, that door stopped. That was the craziest thing. So,
well,
we've all a couple of those little things that occurred. So
we've all had our own experiences, and again, I that sounds like a terrifying event. Well, again, Ollie, and am I saying it right? Ollie or Ali?
Ali, like Alley Cat.
Ali. Well, it was nice meeting you, and again, thank you for calling in, and I know it's always freaky being a first-time caller, so thank you so much, and I appreciate you. And it's your first-time call. Don't make it your last, okay?
Thank you, Marv. I will, and I promise. Thank you so much again for all you do.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Allie from Florida speaking about their 1974 experience. I want to remind people, so there's a lot of new people in the house. Doesn't matter. We have 2 more callers lined up here. So again, remember, don't talk about the callers unless it is something positive. That is our general rules. And again, you may think that, well, one thing is, like, unless you're going to call in, you can't really talk because, honestly, you are sitting in the comfort of your home talking badly about somebody who is actually willing to call in. That's, at least they're willing to call in. But second, imagine if, again, people don't know what's going on the other side of that phone. There was somebody who called in and they were slurring, and basically everybody said, hey, this person's drunk. Oh, drunkie, this guy's an idiot. They're drunk. Well, they saw that. They read all of the comments the next day, and they ended up being so torn up because they had a stroke. And it wasn't slurring because they were drunk. It was slurring because they had a life-altering stroke that debilitated them and they're in a wheelchair. So imagine that person going back and reading all these nasty comments. It's like you don't know who's on the other end of the phone. You don't know what somebody's deal is. Maybe they're going through a change of life. Who knows? But that's not our place. If you call in, people are going to try to be nice to you. And here's the thing. We always have new people and we always have people coming in and out. So it's really hard to get 100%. But if you can, just don't worry about it. If you said something negative during any caller, just rotate it around and think about it. If you called in, what would you like to hear? Because I guarantee you, doesn't matter how cool you are, if you were the coolest lead cheerleader or you were the football jock and you were the coolest dude in school, you call in, there's going to be 10 people that just don't like you. They won't like your voice. They won't like the way you talk. In fact, we have people that spend all of their days sitting here, even though they don't like any of the above for me. But get ya, they will stick around to hate on you. But that's not the why. Don't waste your time with that. Be positive, push people up, don't push people down. And it's not a suggestion, it's a rule here. This isn't a public square. This is our channel, this is our home, and you guys are all you guys are partial owners here. You don't want somebody coming in your living room and yelling and screaming. You're going to tell them to get out. If you want to go yell out on the sidewalk, you can go ahead and do so. But if you want to come inside the home and put your shoes up on the table with your shoes on, well, that's not going to work. So just know, and then just a quick announcement. If you do get banned for some reason and you feel like it was done in accident, or if you want a second chance, email me at adam@Marfoogle News, and then, of course, put banned or I got kicked in the subject. And we always try to give people multiple chances. But we're just not going to put up with the drama anymore. We want it to be so where anybody can come in here and have a fun time. Like, we're talking about all sorts of crazy stuff here. Come in and have fun. If it, you could, what is it going to get? Where is it going to get you to put somebody down? It doesn't get you any further in life. Have fun with it. If you want to be sarcastic and say, great caller, smiley face emoji, okay. As long as it's positive. Spectacular. Xi brings Star Wars to reality, claims its AI can hunt satellites in space using deception tactics. So we have covered every stage of the way of this, and we've shown you how there are multiple pieces to this puzzle that really show you that they have not only weaponized space, but they are trying to knock down satellites, or that's the end-all goal if something goes down. So if there is a WW3, immediately they would start going for the satellites. Now, I'm not using just this. We are talking about, of course, Vlad's country and Xi's country. They are both putting out data that shows that they not only have different things from the ground. Vlad claims that they actually have a shoulder-mounted laser that can actually blind a satellite. I don't know if it's shoulder-mounted, but it's about the size of a shoulder-mounted weapon that could actually target and blind a satellite by basically hitting the camera with a high-powered laser. They also have, of course, these satellites that actually have clamp arms on them that will fly around, zoom around, grab onto another satellite, and crunch it to the point where it doesn't work. Why this is important is the satellites keep our entire infrastructure going and all of our navigation and everything else. It's not just for your GPS turn left here. It's for all of our communications, including planes and trains and automobiles and everything else. It's all on a single on the system. So as far as knocking down the satellites would also be the first step in a military move. If they knock down on satellites, that would be bad. And now, as we have shown you, the Pentagon chief software officer just left, not even a few months ago, said that he left because his outro statement, they actually created the position for this guy in the Pentagon. Never existed before. The chief software officer said, I'm leaving, and here's why. He said that China is so far ahead of us in AI that there is no getting ahead. Because once they get so far ahead, there's no catching up because they're always going to be steps ahead. That's what's crazy to me, is we know right now that whatever happened, whether it be the last few presidents or something that dropped the ball, or maybe one of them threw the ball in their court and said, hey, you play with it for 4 years or 8 years. Whatever happened, Xi was essentially advancing their entire country. We know that they are now able to produce the most high-tech, high-quality military technology that exists in the world now. And that's not something people think when they think of Xi's country. They think of low quality. It's going to fall apart in 10 minutes. That's not true, because all of our high-tech companies were sending our stuff over there. So this is scary. This is in the latest application of AI in space. Xi researchers claim to have developed an artificial intelligence system that appears to have learned the art of deception in a simulated space battle. Hong Kong-based China Morning Post reported. Again, this is coming from them, so take it with a grain of salt. It says, Vlad says its warships pounded American arms depot in UKR with caliber cruise missiles. And it says, watch, as an experiment, the AI system directed 3 small satellites to approach and capture high-value targets thousands of times. The report said that the targeted spacecraft learned to sense the impending threat and activated powerful thrusters to avoid the pursuit. The AI instructed the 3 hunters to deviate from their original path as if abandoning the pursuit, resulting in a trap for the satellites. Then, at a distance of fewer than 10 meters or 30 feet, one of the hunting satellites abruptly reversed course and deployed a capturing device. In a paper published on April 25th in a domestic peer-reviewed journal, Aerospace Shanghai, which again, that journal is actually looked over by the world. That is a peer-reviewed journal. They said that the lead scientist Zhang Hui, a professor of astronautics at Northwestern Polytechnical University in Xi'an, remarked, "This is spectacular." Spectacular in kind of a really, really scary way, because this is something where they're basically, the AI would be able to detect this, do this, maneuver it, and then trap satellites. All on its own. This would not be somebody on the ground with an Xbox controller controlling something. This would be AI doing it all together. And if they are at that point with satellites, we have problems. We have big problems. This is way more serious than people are going to say or even admit until it's way too late. And people aren't going to realize it until their phone service doesn't work, their power is off, and of course their car doesn't start. And that's not trying to exaggerate. That's just trying to look at the possibilities. Now, if I'm hoping and I'm praying that this never happens, but there's a possibility. There's always going to be a possibility for this stuff. So remember, this is news from the prepper standpoint. So again, most of us are all desensitized to this. We're not scared of this. We're not scared of this whatsoever. And most of us are looking at different pieces of this puzzle, and we together can put it together. I know that sounds like a more you know shooting star, but it's true. Hopefully I don't get like a trademark for that. And then Xi AI giant Megville's chief scientist Sun Weon dies at age 45 of sudden illness, aka being thrown off the top of a. I wasn't supposed to say that. Oh, he worked at Apple for 15 minutes? Oh. Sun Weon, the 45-year-old chief scientist of Xi artificial intelligence firm Megville Technology, died on Tuesday of a sudden illness, which the company did not specify. Dr. Sun Weon has dedicated his whole life to scientific research. With his unfortunate passing, Megville has lost a leader in the exploration of the innovation and in the AI and technology field, the facial recognition company said in a statement. I wonder if that was any of, say, the other nation states that were saying, oh, well, now we know that Xi is way ahead of us in AI, maybe we'll just take out one of their main guys. When Xi says that somebody died of a sudden illness, I guess you always got to go, well, was it? Or was it a sudden other kind of thing that happened? But who knows? We'll never find out. That's my thought on it. Sun, a former Microsoft researcher with years of expertise in computer vision and computational photography, joined the Beijing-based startup as the chief scientist and managing director of research in 2016. While at the company, he led the development of ShuffleNet, a neural network that works efficiently on mobile devices and Brain++. It says that the company's core AI productivity platform, among other breakthroughs, according to the website of Megville Research, the unit that Sun established. Now, one thing to think about, and by the way, they're talking about neural networks, AI, and all of this. This is like Skynet type stuff. Again, Jacob is real, did a great video on Skynet and all that kind of stuff. So make sure to go over and check out his channel. He's really good at putting pieces of the puzzle together. And then Bill Bradley, according to Nuremberg, forcing experimental on people is illegal. That's how we were arrested for that. 0. How many were arrested for that? 0. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. But remember, those trials weren't done until after all of it was over, right? So we'll see. There will be a lot of people on trial if that's the case. Let's see here. Labels, what's going on? Mohawk, Ecto1 is in the house. Renegade PD, that Gen X dude. Hey, thanks, and I hope that Gen X voice is doing well too. Deep State of Mind, ask about what is going on. Robin, B, Crouch, Brian, Dano, Barback, and sorry, I am only human. Sometimes I laugh at 7-year-old jokes. The judge will be Jesus, says Malia Mom. And Zenwene Z, Cody Sedlock. I've tried 2 times, still can't get through. Cody, let's see here. Just keep trying, because it does look like we may have. That's the thing. And it looks like we have 2 lined up, but that doesn't mean one won't drop. We have a call drop pretty much once every show. So keep trying, and if you don't get through, we will have another call in 2 days. All right, and then Dex, you're going to be lining up the caller here in a second, but first I wanted to talk about Taiwan. Official warns supersonic cruise missile can strike Beijing. Dex, do you want to chime in on this? This is pretty important stuff, and I know that we've already got some of that stuff lined up right now, so are you able to chime in on Taiwan?
I'm dealing with a drop caller right now.
All right, that's good news for Cody. Cody, get in there and keep calling because you will be able to get in right now. So get in there, 2244-006273. All right, well, then I'll go over this and then we'll come back to it. Taiwan official warns supersonic cruise missile can strike Beijing as Xi's hostility intensifies. A top Taiwanese official warns that the Yunfang supersonic cruise missile can reach out and touch Beijing. Yu Si-kun, president of Taiwan's Legislative Assembly, or WAN, gave a speech on Taiwan Overseas Network where he declared that the country's domestically produced Yunfang supersonic cruise missile is capable of reaching Beijing. The message follows ominous warnings made by Xi military officials directly to their U.S. counterparts to avoid the Taiwan Strait. We just covered this yesterday, and what has been happening over the last few days is they are directly warning countries to avoid the Taiwan Strait. They're basically saying, don't even do your Freedom of Navigation Act stuff there. They're telling them, do not go to anywhere near the Taiwan Strait. And they're quietly doing this, and they're telling countries directly through memos and through emails and through actual calls. So is something about to go down? I hope not, but we are watching it. Remember, just a month ago, they were handing out, the military in Taiwan was handing out pamphlets on what to do when the conflict starts. They even gave them directions and maps where all of the shelters were, everything else. They also told people how to arm themselves, and if they don't have a weapon, to grab something that they can use. This is the point where they were at. Plus, they cleared the way to actually place mines out in the ocean, which, if they have actually placed the mines already, that would be another key factor of this. You only place mines, right before something happens, because you don't want to just, place a bunch of dangerous explosives out in your beaches unless there's going to be somebody coming up there. You don't want a cruise ship to go through the Taiwan Strait and go straight to hell. Dex.
All right. And are you talking about the cruise missile?
Yes, Taiwan. And
so
and they're saying
supersonic. One thing that strikes me on this, this is one of the first times we've heard more of an offensive warning, right? It's usually, we'll defend ourselves, we'll protect ourselves, we've got, our military's prepared for anything, we do training, et cetera, et cetera. But this is one of those times that they're really saying, hey, you know what? Don't forget, we can, you're only 100 miles away. We can reach out and touch you too, right?
What was that? Oki Khan says posturing. So, yeah. And like Dex said, this is the first time they've really kind of gone on the offensive. They're always on the defensive. But right now, they're saying, and they said supersonic, which I believe supersonic is different, obviously, than hypersonic. So supersonic, but still, supersonic is, what is the difference between supersonic is like a jet,
over
right?
Over the speed of sound.
Yeah. So you're talking about fast missiles. Why would they say this right now? Do they think it's about to go down? Maybe because of those warnings to the counterparts. Is that why they're saying it? Again, we will see. Here's the thing. Most people in the U.S. and other places, they're just going to see this on the news, and it's somewhere else. One of these days, it's not going to be somewhere else. And maybe, hopefully, it's never in our lifetime. But if you have kids, you'll also be thinking about, well, it's probably going to be in theirs. If it's not in ours, it's most likely in our kids. So at some point, whether you are in the U.S., Europe, Australia, or any of the allied countries that watch this show, at some point, you may have this at your doorstep. Because there's people from all over the world that watch, mostly, though, U.S., Europe, Canada, and Australia. Well, maybe not Canada, because they're passing Bill C-111 or whatever. So who knows? We might not even see Canadian YouTubers, or they might not see us. Who knows? I'm not Canadian enough. It's probably going to be the case, right? We'll see. We'll follow it. And again, do we have Kyle, or did Kyle drop?
No, we have Kyle.
Okay, well, you get Kyle on the phone. I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, if you want to get yourself lined up with a long-term survival food, we have a solution for you. Again, this is through My Patriot Supply, and what this is their company has every single selection you can think of right now, which again is very rare. They are a bigger company, so they are actually able to keep this up. A lot of the smaller companies that do freeze-dried and packaged long-term survival food are all out. In fact, most of them, you'll go to their website and you'll see 10 out of 12 of their meals are all sold out, and what you're left with is like duck soup or something. But they have amazing selection, but they also have kits. So you can get any number of days or months kits. So, for instance, you can get a 72-hour sample kit that basically has 3 days worth of food. You can also get a month kit. You can get a 3-month kit. And that has everything you need as far as food goes for one person for 3 months, or for 2 people for a month and a half each. So those kind of kits are really great because they are not only sealed MREs that you just basically add water, you're good to go, but they also are then double sealed in a bucket, or at least the month and above are. So you got an awesome thing. Or if you just want to get a single MRE or something like that, you can go there. But again, it's better to do this now rather than later because prices are not going to go back down. Inflation is not going to reverse. I mean, you could see the price possibly go down, but year after year it's gone up. So it's not going to get any cheaper. And there's a possibility that, again, the freeze-dried foods, the actual producers of these foods, are now so in demand that a lot of places, all of the smaller companies, are not even able to order anymore. A lot of the Foogle fam that usually went through a ma and pa company, they say their ma and pa companies are out. So if you want to go through one of these guys, I would highly recommend doing so sooner than later. They also have $150 off on that 3-month supply. And they have other great things like gadgets. For instance, the Alexa Pure Pro. The Alexa Pure Pro is a gravity-fed as far as a water filtration system, and it gets rid of 99.9% of 206 different contaminants, including chlorine, fluoride, pesticides, bacteria, and pharmaceuticals. So make sure to go check it out, marfooglenews.com/prep. You can filter a ton of water all at once. A great system. On top of that, iodine pills and everything else you can think of as far as prep goes. All right, Dex, let's get Kyle on the phone. Kyle's a former military, CERN and strange things, massive methane holes around the Arctic. Let's talk about it.
How you doing, Adam?
Hey, Kyle. So, by the way, first off, thank you for your service. As you know, we have a ton of military here, and we always make sure to thank you.
Yes, sir. I thank you for that. And I spent 37 months in the Air Force down in South Florida, and now I live in southwestern Ohio, just outside of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Oddly enough. So a long-time listener, first-time caller. I've been listening to you guys for years. I passed your name around quite a bit in the Ohio area, so who knows? Maybe that turned into some of those viewers you got from Ohio.
Very good paying attention, by the way. I said the other day, we have an unusual number of Ohio viewers. Like, I have family in Ohio, and of course, I've been a big fan of doing the OHIO, but it's just weird.
Yep.
And people from Washington. So I don't know if it's because word spreads around locally and like people are like, oh, this guy's from here, you know. Maybe it's the Cascadia subduction stuff I've done, but I don't know. It's like Washington and Ohio, where my family really is based. So it's just kind of weird. But yeah, Kyle, sorry to take away from your point. Keep going.
Okay. So what I wanted to speak with you about is obviously, talking about CERN tonight. That whole rabbit hole, as you were describing, you go down that, and I mean, if you have a sound mind for physics, you at least understand the basics of it and whatnot. Some of the things that they've talked about being possible happening there and that could have already happened, we just, of course, wouldn't be privy to that, but have been all the way from absolutely horrific to, like you said, could open up a light bender that could, suck us all in there or something. I just, some of the symbolism is what I wanted to get to here with, you were speaking about their logo and whatnot. And of course they have, their giant, I believe it's a bronze statue of Shiva, the destroyer, I believe, in the Vedic histories. And if you read about if they're really trying to embody this Shiva element, they know what they're doing, and they know the possible outcomes of this. And I'm not sure how far down this rabbit hole you've gone, but just so your listeners can be aware that there's that place being open just always has a worry in the back of my mind. Who knows? Because they're literally going into territory we've never been into before.
Yeah, they're experimenting with things that could go horribly wrong and could be irreversible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I understand there's been some scientific gains. You know, I believe it was the boson particle was successfully, it was theorized prior, but it was actually discovered at CERN. And I mean, that's great. There were some scientific advances, but there's a point in which you cross over to, you know, doing some of the experiments other than just, you know, slamming particles under a $5 billion race course underground into each other. It's just disturbing that, and they want to expand this. They want to put don't hold me to this one, but I believe it's 100 kilometers in circumference that it's going to dwarf this Large Hadron Collider by a substantial amount.
I mean, what is a kilometer in mile? That's what is that? The how many miles?
6.2.
Yeah, that is so much bigger. That is the size of a city. That is bigger than a city. You're talking about basically the borders of a city would be CERN, or would be a Hadron Collider.
Yes, and then it goes. It's essentially going to be a tubular collider, just like the one is now. They're going to go deeper, and the amount of power that this is going to require is just, I mean, I've seen some large Bitcoin mining farms in my day, like this, for just unbelievable amounts of power. This dwarfs it, and in the understanding of the term, dwarfing it. I mean, the amount of electricity that they're putting through some of these lines is just, put it this way, you have to have on-site or connected generation. There's no power delivery of that kind of power happening. It's generated either on-site or very close to it. But, that was just...
That's another thing.
Always worried me.
So how would they even power something? I have a image on screen, and it does say 100 kilometers is the planned size, and this is straight from BBC, surprisingly enough. It shows the LHC, which, as you can see, this is a satellite photo, so this is zoomed out. The LHC is 16 miles across, or around, right? The future circular collider dwarfs that. It makes it look like the back of a thumbtack. I mean, like, this is gigantic. And this is what they're going to next. I wonder why. Why do they need to go bigger? Is it so they can go faster? So they can collide it at a higher speed? Is it just the length that it travels?
Well, if anybody wants to talk to me about this later in the chat or something, I had some friends that did some strange things in their days in the service, and let's just say that a couple of them have seen, or on paperwork, nobody with eyes on this stuff, but actual, I guess you would call them Stargate. And they're an ancient technology, from what I understand. There was, that's a whole nother wormhole. And these are guys that I trust, that a couple of them I served with directly. And I mean, these are no frill Southern boys. One was from Mississippi, another one was from Georgia. And I mean, they were just really laid back guys. And I was talking to them a couple of years after I was discharged, and they said, man, some of this crap, it just blow your mind. Like, I see it on paperwork, but it's got to exist. Why would you have a 200-page report about something if it didn't exist? I've always found that to be quite strange.
Well, Kyle, let me ask you a quick question. So Taraho asked, what is it though? So I guess kind of the simple way I would put it is that it's magnets, correct? And it smashes particles together, and technically they are looking at, hypothetically making a black hole, or they've even said there are employees there that have said that they have talked about time travel. Did they not, or am I tripping there?
No, you're not tripping there. That was one of the topics that were discussed. And as far as the research that I've done, now there are some stories that have been on the internet and have only been recorded verbally. There's no, evidence to this. But then again, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't leave this around for people to find out because of the implications after the fact. But there's been a story of a scientist, a female, that went in there and was conducting the night watch while there were pre-programmed tests occurring. She was sitting in a chair I'm reading this thing and I'm giving a picture of maybe like a control type room with some electric switches and whatnot, overlooking, these pre-programmed tests that were supposed to happen. And something had happened. People outside had reported seeing flashes of light coming from the ground. And these were varying in color from white to blue to one person even said green. But that basically, the people went back in there and the next morning, 6 hours later on a shift change, and they found her clothes and slumped into a pile. And like she just melted right out of it. And they were just on the floor. They had to alert people and everything, but then damage control went into effect. And there were stories out on this at the time. I want to say it was 2012 or 2013. And, who knows to the validity of that, but when you have the scientists themselves saying, there is a potential here that we could start a wormhole. We could literally conjure so much power in a certain spot that it could, and it's also, placed on ley line. A lot of people don't realize that it's tied in with the energy of the earth itself, like some of the other, megalithic structures all over the world. And things have happened in those mountains there where that's located, right on the edge of those mountains, that is just a lot of UFO sightings, a lot of strange things going on in the sky there and whatnot. But some of the projects range from, like you said, potentially opening a black hole, time travel. They're playing with physics they don't understand.
And they have money from countries all over. They have money from world entities, and we're talking about at this point billions
everywhere.
Yeah.
The funding is unbelievable. And I mean, not only are you talking about rich bankers, Swiss bankers, you're talking about globally leaked potential, I guess I shouldn't probably use this term, but the burger groups, those types, some even in international arms and things like that, take interest in buying time at this and dedicating, donating money to this Hadron Collider. And it's just, I don't know, when you get the feeling the scientists are scared of what they're doing, and some of them are very worried about, quote, a couple of them very worried about the projects that are going on there. That scares me.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, I put the Berg group there on. So at any point, sometimes when callers call in, I'll put a Wikipedia, or I'll put a definition so people can pause that or see that. Again, there's tons of stuff about this, and it's so much that, I mean, we could go on for 4 hours and have 10 different callers, because a lot of people have gone down this rabbit hole, and it's deep. It is one of the, and this isn't like some crazy thing. There's billions of dollars of the richest people in the world that are running the planet are going directly into this. They're trying to either evolve humans, or reach demons, or time travel, or make a black hole that will be a wormhole to another universe. All of these are correct in a lot of ways. Like, this is really, really scary stuff. And of course, many people, it just goes right over their head, and they're like, well, is the Johnny Depp trial back on? And no offense to the people that loved that too, but I'm saying you also have to look past that and see what is actually happening with all these other things going on in the world. If it's not right in front of them, or in their area, or right in front of them on a screen, people don't look this stuff out anymore. People don't do this. The people in this group, though, these are all people that go down these holes, and that's why there's so many conflicting opinions, because there's so many different levels of I guess intelligence here, because or I guess information. People have gone deeper down. Everybody's at kind of on a ladder of their truth, And that's why we have such a hard time seeing seeing eye to eye on all this stuff. But man, what a great call, Kyle. Thank you for calling in. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go?
Yeah, I was going to speak on my other topic real quick. I'll make it real brief for you, though. I have a friend of mine who's a geologist. She studied down there at Miami University in Ohio. And she has been doing some touring in the Arctic Circle and regarding large craterish holes that are showing up and pretty much all over your 60 degrees plus of latitude. So, Siberia, northern Canada, Alaska, et cetera, only in the northern hemisphere that it has been tested. They're seeing these gigantic holes that are showing up that are 50, 100, 150 feet wide, sometimes wider. And methane gas is just pouring out of these things. And from what I understand, it's coming from the permafrost melting and all of your, dinosaur fuel and plants and things like that are down there decaying. When it thaws, the methane will find its way up. And the biggest discovery they've recently made is that these things are on the bottom of the ocean. They're on the coast. There's many of them located in lakes because it's easier for it to get out with water on top for some reason. They find a lot of them in lakes, any in those northern latitudes, and these things are releasing enough methane to I can't even put it into, I tried to look this up, and basically, if you were to fill a modern day 100-story skyscraper with cubic feet of gas, they let that out in a couple of hours. So, and these things are numbered in the 500 plus right now. And there's expected to be 1,000 in the next 18 months as the further melt of the ice cap happens.
So it sounds like,
which,
by the way, that's the same gas that they're worried about totally messing up our entire atmosphere. And it's as much, if you would compare how much it is compared to all these, maybe hypothetically, let's just feel it out. Maybe that's why they say all of this stuff has to be changed, like petrol. Like we got to switch from gas to this. You won't be able to eat meat by 2030. You'll have an 8-ounce steak. Every American will be able to eat 1 8-ounce steak a month. By the way, that's something that was directly paraphrased from our president. Said by 2030, a steak will be something that's a treat. You're not. A fake meat is going to take over. And again, look, if you want to know the stuff that is really going to be a bigger part in your life, look at what Gates and others are investing in. Fake meat. It's not big now, but it will be.
Yeah, buddy. And just to give you an idea, like you were saying, methane, yes, it is the most dangerous of the greenhouse gases as far as terms of damage to ozone and other higher level atmosphere elements that keep this lovely biosphere we live on working and somewhat, well, I wouldn't say happy, but you know what I mean. We're going to have to, their estimates are if these things continue on this path for the next 36 months, so you're talking 3 years, that we will have to become carbon reverse. So we will have to be basically taking more carbon out of the air than we're putting in a rapid succession, or within 10 years after the rest of these holes have spewed all this methane, just by simple calculations in volume and how much air there actually is in our atmosphere, which they can do. I mean, the Egyptians did it making the pyramid. They gave you the dimensions of the earth on it, so it's not rocket science. And they figured out that it basically in 8.5 years that we will have basically no atmosphere left. So it would cook off, the water to the point where you would have such a cloud cover and whatnot, our atmosphere would basically just be like Mars did and slowly disappear. I mean, I know it's just degrading now and we need to be conscious of what we're doing to this planet, but it seems like the Industrial Revolution and the way everything went, it just programmed us to be bad to this planet, and it's sad because we can't really pick up our own pieces. But there's a lot of smart people out there that are, moving forward in that department. So we'll pray for them and hope for the best.
Well, Kyle, thank you so much. Again, I think that a lot of people need to actually do their research on what you are saying. I appreciate your call, Kyle, and thank you again for your service. Thank you for, again, putting your years of your life out to serve our country. So thank you.
Yeah, Mark, one more thing real quick. I own a computer business here in Ohio, so if anybody in the Foogle fam needs any computer help or anything, I'll go ahead and post stuff here in the YouTube when I'm done speaking. But I've always been watching you guys, following you guys for, I think, since 2018. Does that sound right? Right about when you came on air-ish, something like that?
Yeah, to the very last month.
Since then, so
September 11th of 2017. So right before 2018.
Gotcha.
Well, Kyle, I might call you myself,
Gotcha,
and then
gotcha.
maybe you can help me with my computer, and we can trade, and we can shout you out. All right.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right. And by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, so what he's saying doesn't even argue with the fact that I know that people say, oh, the whole change thing is BS. I think some people are not actually looking into what even their own side of the argument is saying. They're not saying that it's not changing. They're saying that it's not changing because of what they're saying it is. These holes are opening up. And what makes a lot of sense, I would say, start looking at what they are saying and what they are doing. They're like talking about getting off the planet by 2028, 2029. Why are they doing all of this? Why are they even trying to go to Mars in the first place? Why are they trying to figure out how to terraform Mars? Maybe in the future we might have to terraform ourselves. What he said, like reverse carbonizing, right? But the thing is this is something that they won't talk about. So this is something that you really you at least have to open your mind to go see. The other thing, is this caused by man or is this natural cycle? That's another argument. But I think people take an argument because they just immediately assume anything associated with one thing or the other. They're like, oh, that's BS. I've heard that that's all by this or that. Both sides have money in it. So it doesn't matter what side you're going to get propaganda, just like the current conflict. You're going to get fake news everywhere. But what I would say, though, is that you have to look at the meeting in the middle and see what you can find out, because we're all seeing the physical changes. We're seeing places in the world, and you could say, well, that's not, that's natural. That's fine. There's a lot of people that argue that that's man-made or that it's man-caused, when some other people will argue, no, that's actually man-made, like they did this on purpose or something. So, Conspiratory says we are the carbon they want to eliminate. Yeah, that's a possibility. I would say keep your mind open and try to hear other people out. I guarantee you, if you actually looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I have believed things that I was peer pressured into, or I have believed things that probably aren't right. I know I have, and I try to correct myself when I change my views, and if I find something else out. But as I've told you guys before, my friend who works on the coral reefs, they are saying some crazy stuff like our ocean is screwed. And whether you want to say that's a natural cycle or not, it's still happening. And look at all the crazy advanced extreme weather events. Those can't be faked. Just like people say, oh, those are actors or whatever. The weather is happening. And you can argue about who's doing it or why it's happening. But again, we're all going to experiencing it. That's the thing. I experienced a 118-degree day in Seattle. 118 degrees. This isn't Arizona. This isn't the desert. This is Seattle. So something is happening, and I'm not saying I know all the answers, but when people say they do know all the answers, I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep looking. Because nobody has all the answers. Everybody has a little piece of the puzzle. Even the most advanced scientists only have their little carved out piece of the puzzle. All right. And then Vlad warns Europe will disappear in a nuclear conflict if West gives missiles to UKR. Guess what's going to happen? Tomorrow night. Hey, we're going to give some missiles to UKR. Dex, I don't know if you're able. I know we got Mayway over there, but are you clear to pop in yet?
Yeah, I'm good.
So if you want to chime in on Taiwan and Vlad at the same time, you can go ahead and do so. We've heard these kind of warnings before. It's almost like every single day, it's like they're a barking dog just telling everybody, we're going to nuke you.
Well, yeah, and this sort of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, and I think we'll be talking about a little bit more tonight, is the narrative, even on the West side here, is that things aren't as rosy over there, at least in the sense of, protecting and keeping UKR, right? As far as the eastern sections, right? All of the conversation we talked about yesterday, a lot of the reporting is saying, hey, they're making a lot of headway, they being Vlad. And that just, we said, hey, maybe this shift in narrative that we're hearing, instead of it's, there's the great ghost who's, taking out all the Vlad planes and all this other stuff, rah, 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 to all of a sudden, well, it's not as pretty of a picture, is probably because they're getting ready to say we need more money, or they're getting ready to say we need to ship more stuff in. And, what more could we possibly send than sending in something as strategic as a nuke to say, hey, now you have to back off, right? So if we were to do that, it sounds like, he's anticipating it and saying, if you do, then all of Europe is going to be taken. So, and not by force, but by nuke. So,
okay, and
this is a big statement, right?
It's not like they're saying like we'll make forceful actions if you give them missiles. They are straight up saying Europe will disappear if you do this. Now, this is pretty freaky, because the next step, right? We've been talking about the last couple of days. If you just joined us today or you're brand new today, then you may not know. We've talked about this for the last few days, and before any of these news stories come out, you see the patterns. And we talked about this, how it's like, oh, well, they're saying that, they're losing ground, and all of a sudden, the media that's been telling us that UKR has been so triumphant and Vlad has just been running home scared and telling mommy they don't want to do it. Now all of a sudden they say that Vlad is taking ground, that they're just totally whooping their butts over there. They're low on ammunition, which, by the way, the first time I saw that, I'm like, they're running out of ammunition. The U.S., which is already supported, they've already given them ammunition. All of these other countries, all of NATO, one of those militaries could get a plane in there right away and refill them up with ammunition. Come on. We can get ammunition right to the front of a battle, and maybe they're saying that the places like literally battling can't get it. Well, then you would send somebody back 100 feet back and get it from there, right? Hypothetically, even if they had to go 10 miles away from the battle zone, somebody would be able to pick up a U.S. delivery of ammunition and then bring it to them. They already crossed that red line, and they already made a threat for that red line. But now they're saying missiles. And we talked about this days ago, how we said now that they're losing, it looks like they're about to ask them for money. Like this is going to justify the U.S. saying, well, we're going to give you $2.1 trillion and, we'll just put it on our tab. We'll just put it on our great-great-great-great-great-grandkids' tabs. Because we know they're not going to be alive anyways, because the planet's going to be terraformed or unterraformed into Mars. You know what I mean. Dex, can you cover the oil revenue and of course the nemesis? I'm gonna change something over here.
Yeah, no problem. So, hey, this is really interesting because we talked about, and I think I even mentioned this a few shows back, or maybe even a couple weeks ago, that while we put all these sanctions around Vlad's oil, there's nothing stopping him from selling to India and to Xi, and in reality, he's selling it at a $30 discount, $30 a barrel discount, and because oil prices have gone up. And his prices obviously would go up minus $30. they are buying a lot, and they're buying a ton, and they're buying it probably even not only that because it's such a great deal, they can buy it and then turn around and resell it, and they can make money off it, or they can just buy it at a discount and put it in their own storage. But the point being is that apparently, and what's coming out in this report, or it's being reported, is that they being Vlad, has actually made more money in soaring above and beyond where he was before the sanctions. So he's actually doing better than what happened when what we thought we were going to do was strangle it and prevent him from being able to make money off of the oil. So apparently he's making as much, if not more. Probably it sounds like he's making more. And not only that, a lot of this is being reconciled without the US dollar, right? It's being reconciled with his currency. And that's probably why I don't know, those of you that track currencies, but their currency has been doing really well. It basically recovered from the early days when it crashed. So it's all back to normal, and it's all back to the levels of oil selling that they were doing prior. So nothing that we've done has actually affected them financially.
Isn't that absolutely insane? We're talking about all the sanctions in the world didn't do diddly squat. And they knew it before this all started. They said Vlad doesn't give a beep about your sanctions. And that's why. They already had this set up, Dex. They had it set up with Xi.
And keep in mind, while they're doing just fine financially, look at what we're paying at the pump. Look at what's happening here and what's happening to the rest of the allies. But especially here at home, it's affecting us. And what are they doing? They're pointing the finger at him like it's his fault. But apparently he doesn't have a problem selling oil. He's selling tons of it. And we're the ones getting the high prices.
Exactly. And we're getting totally screwed here. Bandy Bear, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you. Irish Rebel, thank you, and thank you again. Cannot say thank you enough. Irish Rebel, thank you. Again, I believe you are the top supporter this week and last week. So thank you so much for your support of this little show here. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting Independent. Shirley Millward, did you check out the ancient bicycle engraving link I emailed to you from Praveen Mohan? No, Shirley, I did not see that yet. I don't know if it's possible. I need the whatever is in the subject. But I'll just try to search that. I was interested in that, so I did want to see that. Don't shut up and take my schmeckles. Hi, Fooglers. Simply Pony, thank you again. Simply, I hope you're doing well. You've been here a long time. Simply, you are a funny guy. Thank you. Steve McMahon, there is a planet between Mars and Jupiter that exploded. That is the origin of the asteroid. I got that one. And then Stephen Wilkes, thank you. And then, hey, I saw that before the show or yesterday, 3 City Cats, thank you for the PayPal. I appreciate that. Catherine D, Diana H, and James G. Thank you guys for your support over there. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting Independent. And then over on D Live, we have tons of great people over there. In general, we just have an awesome group tonight. Thank you, Chance, for modding there. Carrie Ray. Lisa K23. Thank you. By the way, if you haven't checked out Chance Paladin's books, he is an author. He writes fictional novels about apocalyptic scenarios, and specifically wrote one around the Northwest, and it is really good. My wife read the entire thing. I've read about half of it so far just because I haven't had time. But again, she gave me pretty much the cliff notes of the entire thing. It is really good. So make sure to go over and check out his books. And any of the mods that are going and they are down there essentially making it a peaceful place for everybody else, make sure to go check out their channels. They all have their own channels. We want to push all of them up and make sure that you go over there and subscribe to each and every one. If you feel like you're a Foogle fam and a Marfia and you are all down, then make sure to stand up for everybody in this group. Make sure to push everybody up. You've got a group behind you. Okay, no one is alone right here. If you are positive and pushing people up, we're gonna help you and we're gonna be behind you. Tower Bear, Maui Racing Realtor, Grand Illusion, thank you. End Times, love you, Marfin Dex. End Times, so beautiful to see you. Man, I still regret not being able to see you in person again with Cha Money and all those guys. It's really Awesome people. Grand Illusion, Stacy Bomba, DFW Jackie, Raheen88, Island by the Sea, Reading the Gospel, everybody that's over on DLive right now. Thank you guys. All right, let's go to the next piece here. We have, of course, the Nemesis warns of sinister twist. We briefly touched on that. But I did want to read one of these parts here. Vlad has been waging a devastating conflict in UK for over 3 months now. But if UKR fails, he won't stop there. Mikhail Kuzyanov, who served as Vlad's first prime minister, said in an explosive new interview on Monday. It says the Baltic states will be next, Kuzyanov says, who now serves as the leader of the opposition's People's Freedom Party, also known as Parnas, told AFP. Kasyanov started souring on Vlad over a decade ago when Vlad fired him along with Vlad's cabinet in a shock pre-move in 2004. Just a few years later, Kasyanov accused the Kremlin of blocking his presidential bid, which we all know something went on there. Both with Xi and with Vlad, they both kind of like set it up so they would, they're ruler and it's not changing. And by the way, if you think about how Vlad stayed in power, got in power, stayed in power, and was able to do that, and Xi, you start looking at the forums and the people they were a part of, and it kind of makes sense. Now, if the forum is against Vlad and now they want him out, maybe that's why this is all happening. He was in the Young Leaders Club. He was put into place, and from very young, they scouted him out. So, yeah, he was KGB, he was all that stuff, then he all that stuff. But to stay in power, you don't think that there's people in Vlad country that are, vying for his spot or would do anything to take his spot? Of course there is. So he must be having back from outside of the country as far as some greater power, right? Vlad's not the top dude, but it's becoming really apparent that Xi may be one of the top people in the world. It seems like him and whatever group he is with and whoever's sitting at his table, they are taking over. That's just my opinion. But this comment about that's a big deal because who is saying it and basically saying they're not stopping at UKR. All right, and then Dex, if you want to get Mayway on, it looks like Mayway has been holding patiently. Well, you do that. I will talk about EMP. Of course, if you haven't already, make sure to go over to check out EMP Shield. In fact, you can get $50 off on per device. These are a device that can actually protect not only your car, they make a version for your home, your motorbikes, of course, your motorcycles, your boats, your RVs, and even a ham radio version. In fact, they now make an energy solar generator EMP Shield. That's how we actually got a hold of the energy company in the first place, is because they were directly working with EMP Shield. EMP now has an in and an out for the energy solar generator, so it can be completely protected from not only EMP but CME. So if whether we have a Carrington level event happen from the sun, which will happen, it's a matter of time, it's a matter of when, not if. Or if we have any kind of nation-state actor or any country hit us with a super EMP, this would be, this is how you keep your stuff running. Again, what this does is it grounds the signal in 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device. This is the same company that is now outfitting agencies like DHS, DOD, and of course the DEMSO team on the Texas grid. So practically the entire United States in some way or another is working with EMP Shield. So make sure to go over there, morfuglenews.com/EMP. The company itself, though, that's selling all these products to all these crazy things, the company itself, when we started with them before all of the executive orders that went in and they called them up, this company started out building these by hand in a small building in Kansas. Now, after those executive orders and they called in and they've basically got a bigger house, but the people in that house are absolutely amazing. They are all, it's a veteran-owned company. They are all some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. They are a lot of them are preppers, and some of them are actually in the YouTube community. They are actually in our groups and stuff. They actually prepare. They do all of the stuff that all of us are doing. So make sure to check them out. They even sent us a Christmas video the first year with the whole factory. Now they're they're getting much bigger. Again, they're still making them by hand, but now in a whole lot more places. So make sure to go check it out. marfooglenews.com/EMP. 100% American made. You can't go wrong. Make sure to go check it out. All right, and then let's get Mayway on. It looks like we have Mayway, and Mayway is going to pop in now. Mayway.
Hey, brother man, do you hear me?
Yes, you are live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
All right. I have one quick thing to say. It's more of an apology. Last time I was on, I had talked about the idea of Sarmat and Tonga, and I said I was disappointed. It wasn't really a rude statement to say. We always got to question everything, and I was like, that's really crazy, because I think the Sarmat was that weird drone, underwater drone, and then we had Tonga that we saw from the ISS. Anyways, we're going to drop that. I just wanted to say an apology if anyone took offense to that. Now,
no need. Go ahead.
I would like to. Okay, thank you, but I still had to say it. What I would like to talk about is this. So, yeah, we've been having some crazy weather going across the planet, left and right. And me in my local state of Montana, I didn't think we had that much water or snowfall. And I was worried because if we don't have enough water or snowfall, we could possibly get to start some of the local raging fires. And they like to burn everything. They're indiscriminate, and they don't care who you are, what you are, or anything. And we're just going to rage forest fires or plains fires or whatnot, you know. But we got the opposite effect. And it started in Yellowstone, and we're flooding. We are flooding. I'm actually closer to the city of Billings. And Billings is one of the bigger cities in Montana, but we're still flooding. One of my coworkers actually has had a death in the family because of the flooding. And just watch out for the floodwaters, guys. Mother Nature is not kind. Well, she can be, but when she rages, she is indiscriminate, and she will take out anyone and everyone.
Which, by the way, Mayway, this is unbelievable. By the way, I'm showing a picture, but there is a video of this actual, and it is insane. The flooding going through Yellowstone has closed it down completely. It has torn out wherever the water has gone. It has destroyed. I mean, it looks like extended tsunami or something.
Well, no, not quite. Not quite. I saw a video to where it never destroyed the house. It just took the house with it. Like the house actually dropped off the side and actually rolled down the river. Like if you weren't paying attention and you were just hanging out on the porch, kind of having a good time like I am. I've had a drink or two. But the thing is, you may not notice because you'd be like, why is my house floating down the river? Oh, God, this is kind of weird.
I saw that, too, and like it looks like it's complete. The whole thing.
It took the whole house as one chunk. Like, it took it, like, it didn't even really break the house. It shook it a little bit, maybe cracked it, but it took the whole chunk and just started floating it down the river.
See, that's why
that's
why contractors should put who made that house on the side for all the news. Be like, Billings Construction made this house. That would be the ultimate ad ever. Like, our houses float down rivers.
It may not stay in the same place, but it will stay together. Dude, and the problem is, we're one of the tributaries to the Missouri, and then the tributaries to the Mississippi. It all flows downhill. You know this. Guys, watch out. Watch out, dude. I didn't see this happening, and we're having small issues in my little state. Like, when I don't know if I thought I said this. Sorry, I've had a drink. But my coworker lost his sister because I guess they were playing down by the river and they've been missing for a couple of days. We just found out last night. These raging waters are nothing to play with. They are nothing to play with. And I got called in early last night, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why? And they said something, and I'm like, oh, you can't be serious. And I'm really hoping it was a false statement, but it's not anything that I want to question, because when the waters start to rage in our state, it's bad. And everyone down below us, because we're a tributary to the Missouri, if I believe, and then Missouri goes to the Mississippi, anyone downwind of these rivers are going to have it even 10 times worse than we are. And in Billings, we're on a floodplain. So we are being subjected to Mother Nature. And I've already, like I said, I worked for my coworker today a little bit early because he was supposed to be there. But he may have lost a bit of family. Like one of my other coworkers, this is the craziest thought, is their brother was wandering down by the river, and they thought they saw a turtle floating in the water. They poked at it, and they realized that wasn't a turtle. That was a head. And we found out that it might have been my cook's sister. And it's kind of a sad statement. It's kind of a creepy statement. But the thing is, and actually I have a neighbor that dealt with this closer to Red Lodge earlier, because one of the bridges that he was dealing with got brushed out too. Don't mess with this. If you're starting to have any waters rising, get the hell out of the effing way. Dude, don't you dare gamble on this. This is not something you want to gamble on. Mother Nature will take you out, and she will not be kind. She is kind in times, but when she rages, and stay out of the way. Down the river of the Yellowstone goes to, I believe, the Missouri. The Missouri goes to the Mississippi. But the thing is, we're dealing with issues on the tributaries to the Yellowstone, which are tributaries to the Missouri, which are tributaries to the Mississippi. So it's not just us here, it's everywhere. Guys, be careful. Watch it. We are in the middle of a weather event, I think, that is going to affect the nation. And we've always talked about, we're worried about, you said your damn Cascadia fault thingy, but it may not just come from there, Marv. It may come from everywhere else. Please tell me you're still here and you can still hear me.
We are. So we are,
everyone,
again,
okay,
maybe.
Everyone was silent.
Again,
I was like, oh, damn it.
No, that's okay. Hey, we are out of time, Mayway. But again, you can save the rest for the next call.
I know. No, it's all good.
I'm sorry to hear about your coworker. That's bad.
I want you guys to be sure and be aware, because it's not just going to come from that coast. It's going to come from the middle of the country as well. Thank you, Marv.
Oh,
Thank you, Dex.
No problem.
Thank you for the fam.
Well, no, Mayway, thank you so much for calling in. Again, it's always a pleasure. And thank you so much. And especially since you let us know you had a few, that is more than acceptable. Thank you so much for calling in. And by the way, considering your screen name, somebody said that they always pick a good or a bad. If you always pick good, then, why put people down? Please remind people in the chat that you do not, if you're not going to say anything positive about the caller, then do not say anything at all. You will get muted, and then if it's a repeat offender 3 times, then you will get banned. But again, we don't have any room for drama. If you aren't patient enough to wait the 5 to 10 minutes that the callers are, you can always go and watch a funny cat video and then come back. It is a live show, so sometimes patience is needed. All right, and then we respect everybody here. And again, he admitted that he had a few, so that's okay. At least he said something about it. All right, and let's see here. Oh, man, just crazy stuff. Vlad destroys the last bridge to Severodonetsk, cutting off the UK defenders and Russian advance. So basically they're saying that, and by the way, Dex, so they're saying that they not only cut off the supply route, but they also cut off their own advance. This sounds like more of what we were talking about, like how they're setting up to be able to send them money.
Yeah, because we talked yesterday that it looked like the East may fall soon, and now the last bridge has been taken down, which would connect anything, or at least connect any supplies into the UKR forces that are there. So it doesn't look good. I mean, this is just a continuation of that message that was started up yesterday, or probably started up over the last few days. It's definitely been a shift over the last 2 weeks from, the type of stories we've heard to all of a sudden, things are looking strong for Vlad on the eastern side. So, yeah.
Oh, by the way, thank you. Who was that? Bones. Okay, that was Bones Armad. Well, it makes sense you said that. Yeah, let's not judge each other. I mean, everybody has just had 3 hellish years. I loved the positive comment saying, "Hey, I don't drink, but have one for me." See, like that, just push it out. Deal with it for 5 minutes. It's all good. But again, I don't want to offend anybody that has just got here. They're brand new. They don't know how it works. Because honestly, if you go into any chat, you're going to see that. You're going to want to say something. Or if you're just watching a show. But the thing is, this is interactive. So we all see that. I personally, it's basically like as if 5,000 people were hanging out in our house and we're talking. If you were in person, you wouldn't. You may say that actually, but at the same point, everybody would be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's talking out the pedestal. Be nice. All right, Dex.
Yeah, and he had a great message too. I mean, at the end of the day, like what's happening there is real, and it is a good warning. So, and by the way, a lot of people don't ever think about where does all that water go. So, be on the lookout.
Also, he got called into work because his coworker essentially most likely lost their sister to that. If you saw the video of Yellowstone, and a lot of it's going around on like TikTok, and there's shorts of it. The footage I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit. I wouldn't say enough to say like I know exactly what's going on, but I would say I've seen enough footage to say, I mean, this is a spectacular flood. They closed down all
that house
entrances.
is on our website.
Oh, yeah. So the video of what he was
yesterday.
talking about, it was on the website on yesterday's show, on the web only or overflow. So make sure to go check that out. It is crazy. The house is just rolling down like it's in a lowrider in the ghetto. So it's not heading to a good place. Satellite images suggest I'm preparing for a rocket launch. So at the same time we have all this stuff with NK going on, we also have this. And this is freaky after the whole underground missile party that they've got going on over there. We've covered this over the last year. They have shown that they have an absolute crazy plethora of missiles and munitions there in this country. And also, they are very close to a certain nuclear level. And it says that I appeared and I ran to the store appeared to be readying for a space launch Tuesday as satellite images showed a rocket on a rural desert launch pad just as tensions remain high over Iran's nuclear program. It says the images from Maxar Technologies shows a launch pad at IM Khomeini spaceport in rural Semnan province, the site of frequent recent failed attempts to put a satellite into orbit. Pretty crazy that they're actually even trying to put satellites into orbit, considering just where they're at right now as far as everything. And it says one set of images showed a rocket on a transporter preparing to be lifted and put on a launch tower. A later image showed that the rocket apparently on the tower. Of course, did not acknowledge the forthcoming launch at a spaceport, and its mission to the United Nations in New York did not immediately respond to a request for comment. However, its state-run IRNA news agency in May said that would likely have 7 homemade satellites. Homemade. I love how they say that. Homemade. I don't think. I mean, they don't call it themselves homemade, do they, Dex? It's like,
I guess
there's duct tape on the mother.
Funny.
Ready for launch by the end of the Persian calendar year in March 2023. Well, I guess homemade. I would think that it was made in a small building. I don't know. Is it actually made in homes? Either way, not good news for anybody in the is country. And of course, one thing to think about too is, do you think that either one of those countries may actually nuke the other out of the thousands years long battle that they've had with each other? We're talking about, in some cases, fanatics. And just depends on like when, one very, very, very dedicated person gets put in power that doesn't care if they pass away. That doesn't care if everybody passes away. They just want to end a conflict that's been thousands of years old. All right, and then, by the way, thank you so much to everybody over on DLive. You guys are just absolutely awesome over there. You have a great crew tonight, especially. Chad Gamber, what's going on? DFW Jackie, End Times, Priscilla R, Maui Racing Realtor, Carrie Ray, thank you for the support over there. Tower Bear. Again, Maui Racing Realtor, thank you. Zippy Moons, thank you for being the one and only Ninja Genie over there today. Thank you, says catch you on the flip side. Replay tomorrow. Thank you for keeping the peace. Mods, many prayers and positive vibes. Nancy B, Pam Beth, and Kimbria, thank you guys as well for joining. Earth Observer says, yup. Hey, thank you for stopping by. And then, of course, we have a ton of people that popped in at the last second here. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Big boost there in new people. So if you are new here, which it looks like a few of the people that didn't know what was going on were straight up new. It says in over the last 5 minutes. So just want to point out, if you are brand new and I yelled at you, don't mean anything by it. General rules is we don't talk bad about the callers and we don't say next or get this person off the phone. But in reality, I know that that's how everywhere else works. But we do have an independent kind of rule set here, and I'm probably going to point it out this week just because I want to get people back on track. This should be really positive. Like, we should be able to come here and I guess for anybody that's thinking that's not cool, try to think of something that you want to share with people and you don't want to be judged about. And then be able to talk to your friends and Marfia here and be able to actually talk about it without somebody calling you crazy. That is the goal, but it takes everybody to do it, and it's really hard to get everybody on the same page. But I think we can do it. We got to work together and realize that you have our back too. We have your back. Joseph Newhouse, thank you for popping in right before the end. Check out my new video with Zebra from, what is that, from yesterday's show. I will definitely do that. Thank you, Joseph, and I appreciate your support, and you have a great night, Joseph. Dex, let's go over the web only and the overflow. We've got quite a bit there.
Absolutely. So again, 2 great reasons to go to the website. Go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or on YouTube, open the description and click on show notes. It'll take you right here. This is where you can enter to win the backpack excuse me, the Faraday backpack from Off Grid, $380 backpack. They're you just real easy, multiple ways to enter. You can do it daily. You got lots of chances, so make sure you do that. Lots of other content. When you scroll down the page past that, you'll see all the news we just covered. Then you'll see the overflow, the web content that's there. So we've got a continuation in the AI stories. There was lots going on in the AI stuff, so we added some more things there. Definitely things in the economy that's going on. So we've got continuation in that, including, you know, updates on crypto and what's happening there. Of course, there's the political stuff and stories about what may be happening with your bang bang. So pay attention. And another story about pushing back against Xi with a movie from Hollywood, but this time not for patriotic reasons, for different reasons. So go check it out, marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show and scroll down to that web only or overflow content, and you'll see the rest of the story. And then right below that, you'll see the callers, and right above that, you'll find the location that you can click to go enter to win the Faraday bag. It's all right there. Many reasons to go to the website, marfooglenews.com.
And by the way, I just wanted to show you, and this is one of the bags. This is one of the bags that you will, if you win, you will get. They are extremely high quality. Again, this is the kind of stuff that you would see. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you would literally see. You know, in like an evidence room. This is literally to protect all of your electronics. Each of the pockets has a different sized labeled bag that's for different things. So this is a Faraday bag. Then in the next pocket, you have another Faraday bag. Again, another Faraday bag, laptop. And then, of course, there's pockets everywhere. And then inside the pockets, they have other things. And then they even have key fob and a cell phone Faraday bag. Everywhere that there's pockets, then on inside they have more organizational tools. This thing is super cool. And then it even has a hard actual sunglass holder. This thing is super, super badass. So make sure to get over there and try to get one.
And Adam, the story behind this bag, just so you know, like their business model was all around making evidence bags, but the story from this backpack specifically, this was built for multiple agencies that needed to carry their electronics around, and they needed to, whether it was in a covert operation, whether it was in a high-profile operation, and they didn't need any signals going, either coming or going. They needed everything to be silent, right? They needed to have that type of protection, or they were carrying heavily sensitive information, and they needed to make sure it was absolutely secure. That's what this comes from. They built this for, you know, what you would think, you know, for James Bond, so to speak.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's a little extreme, but that's exactly who the market was and who they build these products for. And they turned around and they said, look, this is a great opportunity for, you know, consumers to use these because they do the same thing. They protect you from, you know, not only an EMP, but also from tracking and tracing. So it's awesome.
Yes, and they've of course made custom bags for all sorts of different electronics and things like that. A spy would go into Vlad country and go through. No one would be able to detect that they have electronics or anything. And if they put a tracker in there, boom, all of a sudden that tracker is not tracked. But most people are now starting to pay attention to how much we are actually tracked everywhere we go. And if you make one accidental swipe on your phone, all of a sudden your phone has a complete history of where you have been, where you are, everything. Your phone will start saying, hey, did you like Walmart? How was your visit today? The second you walk out the door. If your phone does that, that means your location is on, and it's actually using that to sell you products. And then at the same time, you get these things that's like, oh, it tells me, oh, I should do this, or it ads that are so targeted that are like, why would it tell me, you know, that the local store has peaches that are in season because you just talked about it, you know, oh, I want some fruit. Ugh. It's like, it's scary stuff. It's like something that would never pop up normally pops up. And that's because people think, oh, it's listening. It's either listening or its AI is so advanced now that it's predicting what you were about to think of. But I would kind of say towards the prior, right? So if you put your stuff in there, it's gone. Again, this is free. This is something we work really hard to try to get. Again, myself and then, of course, Dex, in this case, hounded them to make sure that we could try to do this. because we said we wanted to do this. These are really cool
And
bags.
they were more than willing, so we didn't have to hound them. They were very nice.
Yes,
they
but
love the fan.
well, I guess in previous instances, because we've had to do this with multiple companies, that we have to work to get it done. So hopefully
Yes,
you guys use it. Please go over and sign up. All right, Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you. Love you.
Absolutely, Adam. And real quick, we're about to make the switch, so you can let everybody know.
All right, make sure to go over to Marfoogle Jams if you want to hear the shoutro. Thank you guys, and have a good night. It's time for the shoutro, not an outro, not a shoutout, it's a shoutro.
Bring it on down. Skyfall. New right now. Skyfall. Bring it on down. Skyfall.